Let's do this. I feel so happy to be here again. What is this, 3 weeks in a row or 4 weeks in a row? Hey, it's something. The journey of 1,000 miles, one step at a time. And I promise, after I get done with seeing that this is a regular process again for me, I won't start every single episode by being so impressed with myself for doing what I should be doing anyway, which is talking to you guys, checking in on you, letting you know what's up with me, sharing things, recommending things, show and tell, reading, loving, marching on. How the hell are you guys? I'll ask you a few questions. Sure, I will. Now that you requested it. What is your favorite thing that you have hanging on your wall? Do you want me to answer it too? I would love to hear from you guys what it is. Mine, it's not quite on the wall yet, but I just got a really beautiful photo of my grandmother framed. Professionally framed, and it looks so good, and I cannot wait to put it up. Let me write this down. I'm going to share this with you guys somewhere. I'm not back on Instagram yet. I might be, might not, but I think I want to share that with you guys. Oh, I do have a Substack. I'm about to start posting things on Substack. Not necessarily for money, but just as another way to share, I guess. But what's your favorite thing hanging around? Oh, the other thing is I make notes for myself everywhere. So for right now in my office, I'm seeing a couple of notes that I turn into kind of posters. They're just handwritten on, computer paper. But one says, "A day is a gift, not something to be conquered." Another one says, "Break everything down to its simplest form!" ! Another one says, "I am love made manifest on earth." Another one says, "For now." That's a big one for me. Everything is for now. I try to not go further than for now. I'm trying to not make such grand declarations because they're just not wise. Let's face it. Everything is a love letter. Everything is an opening. First things first. People rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they're doing. That's a Dale Carnegie quote. And I put a photo of Richard Simmons, Tiger Woods, and Commander Mark from Secret City on there. Now, the Tiger Woods is kind of an ironic twist to the statement because he does not have fun, which is why he doesn't succeed anymore, in my opinion. Check my the essay that or epic poem I've been writing about Tiger Woods for the last, let's see, it's been since 2012. It's not like I write in it every day, but I add to it a lot. I would say lately not as much, but I'm always adding to my epic Tiger Woods poem. One day, it will be out there in the world. But yeah, he's somebody that doesn't have fun anymore. He's just way too serious about what he's doing. He doesn't have that, what is that called in sports? I don't know. He's not in the flow state, in my opinion. That's how I feel. Now you guys know that I watch golf. Okay, what's another good question? Do you believe in that saying, you reap what you sow? I heard somebody say it the other day on a reality show, and when I just don't know what I think about it, because it makes me think, well, is that really true? Because it was kind of used as a threat to somebody after they were kind of acting up. Well, you reap what you sow. But life isn't fair. I was taught that early on by my dad, thankfully. I mean, it's kind of a dour thing to be taught as a very young toddler, but it is what it is. It's true. Little kids get cancer. That's all you need to know about that. And they certainly didn't reap what they sow. This is a Bible quote, right? Let's look it up together. Let's find out what's going on. Reap what you sow, Bible. Okay. It's from Galatians. Is that how I say it? Galatians 6, 7 through 9. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Well, maybe some of you biblical scholars out there can help me with this one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds a little too much like, you get what you deserve kind of thing. And we all know that that is just not always accurate. So I'm sure the Bible has much more subtlety to it than just that. I mean, for the most part, that's probably true, right? We're all meant to die eventually. So death isn't really a good counterexample. The way I said, well, people with cancer, you can't say that they caused that to themselves. Anyway, I don't know. Do you believe that you reap what you sow? How does that make you feel when you hear that phrase? And do you like idioms? What is your favorite phrase or idiom? Again, on a reality show, I heard somebody say one that I am dying to use in regular conversation. So if I ever get a chance, I hope you guys will be there when I get to say this one. No, ma'am, Pam. It's not the greatest phrase. It's not even an idiom. It's just a phrase. And I've heard no way, Jose. And then now I've heard no, ma'am, Pam. And I like that even better. I like them both, but I never know if no way, Jose is racist or not. Does anybody know? To me, it's just rhymes. I mean, I guess I could say a name that rhymes in my own race category, which is a boring old white person. What rhymes with way? Doris Day? No way, Doris Day. That's so stupid. No way, Jose is cool. And Jose is one of the coolest names out there. So anyway, I guess I'll stick with no ma'am Pam for a while. Okay. What else? Is there anything you guys are avoiding? Think about it. Because can I be honest with you? I never realized that I was an avoidant personality. Like, I didn't realize I avoided certain things. I always thought I confronted things head on. But, you know, it turns out in looking back at the last 20 years of my life, I had a real good time avoiding things. Well, no, I had a horrible time. I just didn't know that was one of the root causes of it. That I avoided my real feelings and I avoided talking about things I should have spoken about. So yeah, if you are having trouble with avoiding something you know you need to deal with, well, first of all things in due time, right? When it shines, it shines. There's another idiom I love. Another idiom I love that I forgot to mention, and I know I've talked about it on here because this is one of my all-time favorites, is I have no dog in this fight. And I would like to say that about almost everything at this point. I don't want to get entangled. I don't want to get involved. I barely want to even have opinions anymore. I got no dog in this fight, brothers and sisters and Pam and Jose and Doris Day. I think those are all of the questions I have for you guys today. Give me a second. I have something I want to play for you guys, and this is specifically for the younger listener, although there are a lot of curse words in this. It's not me talking, it's somebody else talking, and I'd say anyone under about 35 should pay particular attention to this little sound clip. And to any of us who are already getting up there in age, like, especially if you're over 45, well, I mean, you already missed the boat on this one. So get ready. Here comes a little clip for you from the comedian Katt Williams. Oh, sorry. And also, excuse the poor quality audio here.
We would tell you enjoy your motherfucking youth while you got it. Whatever the fuck you trying to do in your dreams and shit, do it right the fuck now.
All right, I post that or I play that for you and I say all of this. And the main thing I know now is actually that I really regret ambition for the most part. I regret ambition. That would be one statement I'd like to die with in my mouth. I regret ambition. And I do. It's exhausting. But maybe I am glad that I had so much ambition early on. And when I say ambition, I don't mean like I want to rule the world. I don't know. I think you guys know what I mean. I really did want my life as an artist to work out and all of this. And now if I wanted that to the degree I used to want it, I mean, it just would not happen. I don't have the energy. I don't have the strength. I have too many diseases and illnesses. And as much as we all know it's great to strive to be awesome at something, I don't know. I wish that I had somehow been instilled with something other than wanting success or notoriety or success in my field or whatever the hell it was that I wanted. Because I now know that success is, very simple. It's simply, being content and as happy as you possibly can during, this small, why can't I speak all of a sudden? This small time we have on Earth. And I realize that sounds super basic. And a lot of people nowadays are raised with that instilled upon them. But maybe it's even dumb the way I'm saying it. I really don't know because it's like a language so foreign to me still. But I don't care what it sounds like. All I know is at this point, nothing else makes sense to me other than just trying to be good, trying to be good to others, trying to right my wrongs, trying to be happy. I really remember connecting with Werner Herzog in this one interview where he says he doesn't even believe in happiness. And now I would love to get into a conversation with him about that. Because, that's absurd to not believe in happiness or what. I'll find the quote and I'll bring it up for you guys next week. But I know I quoted it even on this podcast, me reading stuff several years ago. And I probably even talked to him about it when I went to Rogue Film School. Because I loved it so much. Like something like happiness is a concept that doesn't make sense to me, or I don't believe in happiness, something like that. I guess I should have checked into that before I started talking about it, but it's just a conversation right now that I'm having with you guys. And here I am saying all of this, and yet I'm also sharing with you this thing from Katt Williams that I really do love. All right, sorry for the interruption. I also just want to read you the basic transcript of the Katt Williams stuff, and I'll add on the part right after the clip I don't have, because I can't tell if my audio is very good there. So here we go. It's way better when you hear him say it, but I'll just read it like boring, Okay, we would tell you, enjoy your motherfucking youth while you got it. Whatever the fuck you trying to do in your dreams and shit, do it right the fuck now, while your body is still with you. Because the rest of us would tell you this getting old shit is for the birds. That shit do not let off once it's on your ass. That's it. So there you go. That's what he says. And also, I think I'm going to post a link to the opening, just for fun, of his classic stand-up special, American Hustle. It's from 2000, either 7 or 4, I can't remember. And it features Rick Ross's Hustlin', which is, arguably the greatest song ever recorded. See what you think. But honestly, I just want to share with you that I love Katt Williams doing his impression of a McDonald's worker, like getting the salt in the fries to this song. I just can't handle how much I love it, because it basically describes how I live. This is how I survive, is basically like boosting my mood with songs like Rick Ross's Hustlin'. And I have a mix called Need, a playlist called Need, that is basically, well, I could always share it with you guys one day, but it's all of the, all the music that makes me feel like I can actually get through a day again. So anyway, nothing I'm saying is probably going to make much sense until you watch the clip if you don't know it already. So Katt Williams, Rick Ross, Robin O'Neill. Let's go.
Robin O'Neill got it going on. Getting shit done, still having fun, still going strong. Got it going on. Rockin' till dawn, can't find the phone, leave her alone.
And and here I have that thing, that Dale Carnegie thing on my door. People rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they're doing. Maybe when you're young, you're kind of so dumb that you're just having fun and you don't realize you're also torturing yourself if you're overly ambitious. I don't know. All I know is I have a lot of complicated feelings about ambition and striving for success. And all I also know is that I don't know that it did me much good, as a human. And now as an artist, it did me tremendous good. I can't complain about it on that front, but Shouldn't I have cared more for me as a human? Or, you know what? Is this just a part of aging where you realize, and your body is breaking down? That's what our bodies are doing. It's here to thrive and then decompose. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. And so maybe as you get older and you feel all that, you're like, oh shit, now I've wasted all this time working so hard. And what am I doing? I'm supposed to enjoy my little bit of time here. And it might just be me, maybe those of you out there who are in your 20s and you're successful, because in my opinion, also, I look back, and if you're in your 20s, you're already successful just by being a 20-year-old. You probably look great, you feel great, you got energy, you're having fun with friends, et cetera, et cetera. Things haven't started to break down as much. And by the way, I will post in the description of the podcast, right from Katt Williams's YouTube page. He's got a clip of the rest of this bit, which is really him just talking about how horrible it is to age and how much it messes with you and how you just can't do half as much as you used to. So, I don't know. I have a lot to say about that Dale Carnegie quote too, because, people rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they're doing. Okay, sure. But you know what else is true? People rarely have fun unless they succeed in what they're doing. I keep looking at this in my office and I'm like, yeah, it makes sense, but a lot of other things make sense too. I think it's just kind of a cool quote to get people motivated or something, but listen to that. That's Frankie. Whoops. I was trying to get her to talk to you and it did not work out. So let's go. Let's read. It's reading time. Thanks for letting me try to talk that out. I made no sense, but in that not making sense, I think I made all the sense of the world, which is maybe this. When your name is Robin O'Neill and you're 47 and a half years old and you're recovering from a lot of things, all that can be kind of under the umbrella of nervous breakdown and major physical ailments, you are all of a sudden questioning your entire life. Let's read. Let's forget about it. Let's just know I did my best and that I love talking to you guys. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say about everything. And where's my book? Okay, it's right here. Now Frankie's meowing in the other room. Okay, The Lost Writings, Franz Kafka. Guess what, everybody? It's another New Directions book from 2020. Every time I say New Directions on this podcast, Damien tells me it sounds like I'm saying nude erections. So excuse me if I've already mentioned that, and now I've had to say nude erections several times in a row, but New Directions. I bought this book, this Franz Kafka book, at the Henry Miller Memorial Library a few years back. I know I was wearing a mask, so it was sometime during the masking of life. And, Henry Miller, obviously American writer, you guys probably know him. Tropic of Cancer and Black Spring are some of his most famous books. He lived to be 88. I'm not going to make up anything historic about his history. In case anybody didn't know, last week when I was talking about that translator and I explained that he had stalked Oprah, I just want to be clear again that I was making that story up. That was not a true story. I was just trying to make up something interesting about him. And frankly, that would have, he's an interesting guy, but that would have made him even more interesting if that had been a chapter of his life. Maybe not great, but interesting. Anyway, I bought this at the Henry Miller Memorial Library, which is it's a performance space, bookstore, and a nonprofit art center tucked back in the Redwoods in Big Sur. Big Sur being one of my top two most beautiful places I've ever visited, the other being Scotland, the western coast of Scotland. And I have to tell you, I was there because Damien was playing a show. And it was so beautiful, and I just fell in love with this place. Not Big Sur. I had already loved Big Sur, but the Henry Miller Memorial Library, if you have not been there, and if you're headed to California anytime in the near future, do not miss it. Check their website and make sure they're open to the public on the days you want to go. It is so worth it. And I remember my friend Eva telling me that so many times when I lived in California that I needed to visit. And I knew she was right, and yet I never did it. Because, as is true of so many things in my life, I just didn't do the right thing. You know, I heard a lot of good ideas, and instead I just kept staying home and not exploring anything, which, by the way, is something I'm doing right now while living in Washington State. I've always loved whales, and I'm near great whale watching, and yet I still haven't done it yet. So I was looking into it, and of course, this is the end of the whale watching season at the place I wanted to go to. So God is trying to tell you something. I mean, I'm never going to get this right, but I'm going to keep trying. Let me read to you the introduction or the kind of blurb about this book by Franz Kafka, because it really is what it says. It's the lost writings of Franz Kafka. Unearthed by the master Kafka biographer Rainer Stock and translated by the peerless Michael Hoffman, the 74 pieces gathered here have been lost to sight for decades, and 2 of them have never been translated into English before. Some stories are several pages long, some run about a page. A handful are only a few lines long. All are marvels, even the most fragmentary texts are revelations. And I agree, I'm going to give you a fragmentary text. If you're reading along with me, this is page 116, everybody. Here it is. You don't have to leave the house. Stay at your desk and listen. Or don't even listen. Wait for it to bother you. Don't even wait. Be completely quiet and alone. The world will offer itself to you to be unmasked. It cannot do otherwise. It will writhe in front of you in ecstasies. Wow. So there you go. That's an example. But I am going to be reading a different one, which, cool, Robin, I didn't mark it. So give me a second. I don't know why I didn't mark this, because I knew exactly what I wanted to read to you. Give me 1 second. Okay, and just so you know, there aren't really titles to these. There are simply the first lines are kind of considered the titles in this book. So here we go. A friend I hadn't seen for many years now, more than 20, and from whom I heard only occasional news, sometimes nothing for years on end, was returning to our city, his father's city. Since he had no living relatives, and of his friends I was by far the closest to him, I had offered him the use of a room in my apartment, and was happy that he had accepted my invitation. I was careful to furnish the room in my friend's taste, trying to remember his particularities, the special wishes he had occasionally expressed, especially during holidays we'd taken together. Tried to remember what he had particularly liked and disliked in his surroundings. Tried to picture in detail what his boyhood room had looked like. But of all of that, I succeeded in finding nothing that I could do to my apartment to make him feel any more welcome there. He came from a large, poor family. Hunger and din and argument had characterized that apartment. In my mind's eye, I could exactly see the room off the kitchen where sometimes, on rare occasions, we were able to retreat while the rest of the family squabbled in the kitchen as usual. A small dark room with the permanent pungent smell of coffee, because the door to the even darker kitchen stood open night and day. There we would sit by the window that opened onto a sort of enclosed winter garden that ran around the yard, playing games of chess. There were 2 pieces missing in our set, and we were forced to replace them with trouser buttons, which caused occasional confusion when we disagreed about their value, but on the whole, we had grown accustomed to the substitution and kept faith with it. The neighbor along the passage was a seller of liturgical clothing, a merry but restless man with long, drooping mustaches he would finger like a flute. When this man came home in the evening, he had to pass our window, where he would usually stop, lean into the room, and watch us play. He was almost invariably critical of our play, both mine and my friends', and gave us tips, and he ended up picking up the pieces and moving them, which we had to accept because if we made to take them back, he would bat our hands away. For a long time, we endured his interventions because he was a better player than either of us. Not much better, but sufficiently so that we could learn from him. But on one occasion, when it was already dark and he was leaning over us and took the entire board away and set it down on the windowsill to inspect the state of the game. Then I got up, having been enjoying a significant advantage in this game and seeing it set at risk by his coarse intervention, and said, with the unthinking rage of the small boy who suffered an evident injustice, that he was disturbing our game. He looked at us briefly, picked up the board, and with an ironic display of care, sat it down in its former place, walked off, and from that day forth would have nothing to do with us. Only, each time he passed the window, no longer bothering to look inside, he made a dismissive gesture with his hand. To begin with, we celebrated the episode as a huge triumph, but after a while we started to miss him with his instruction, his humor, his willingness to participate. And not knowing why, we started to neglect our games. And before long, our interest turned to different things altogether. We began collecting stamps. And it was, as I only understood later, the sign of our almost mystifyingly close relationship that we shared an album. One night, I would keep it. The next, it was his. The difficulties that resulted from this shared ownership were exacerbated by the fact that my friend was banned from our apartment. My parents would not allow him in. This ban was not originally directed against him. My parents hardly knew him, but against his parents and the rest of his family. In that general way, it was probably not unjustified, but in the form it took, it wasn't very sensible, as it led directly to my going around to my friends every day and being drawn far more deeply into the web of that family than if my friend had been permitted to visit us. Often, in place of sense, my parents offered tyranny, not just toward me, but toward the whole of the world. In this case, it was enough for them, and here my mother was more deeply involved than my father, that the family of my friend was being punished and degraded, that I was thereby caused to suffer, yes, that in a natural countermeasure my friend's parents treated me with mockery and contempt. This my parents did not know, but then they weren't interested in me in that way, and even if they had gotten to hear of it, they wouldn't have been greatly affected. This is my view of it after the events. At the time, we two friends were reasonably content with how things stood, and the grief at the imperfection of earthly arrangements did not pierce us. Yes, carting the album back and forth daily was irksome, but... ... And that's the end. I love it. I'm in a gentle mood, so I don't want to throw the book, but I do feel like throwing it or slamming it because I do like it. But I also, with the thought of tyranny and injustice of any kind, I don't want to treat the book that way. But I think you guys probably loved that as much as I do. It triggers so many thoughts for me about friendship, about childhood friendship, about the inability for children to even comprehend what the fuck their parents are doing half the time, either when they're young or when they're grown, frankly. And yeah. And even those relationships with neighbors, you know, people coming and going in the way that they do. And how people disappear. Sometimes you're not sure why, and other times you do know why, and it seems so simple. Anyway. Ugh, wow. I have a lot of thoughts about that, but let's move on. I want you guys to go and do something nice for yourself, as I always wish for you. Whether it's stretching, that's what I need to do, walking. I will probably take my nightly walk in a bit. I don't go until the sun goes down, though. I am not liking the sun. I don't want it in my face. I don't want it on my body. I appreciate it, for it gives us life, but I'd rather not fuck with it right now. What else will you do? Go hug somebody if they're nearby and you like hugs. If you don't, mind your own business. Stick to yourself. Don't touch a soul. Buy yourself a new sweater or a new pair of trousers. I've never said trousers in my life until right then and there. I don't call them trousers, I call them pants. So, I don't know what just happened. I hope your heart feels good. I hope your brain is calm but activated. I hope someone falls head over heels for you, and you for them. That is, if you are single and ready to mingle. And if you're partnered up already, well then, I hope it's as fulfilling and bearable as it possibly can be. Wow, I'm really getting a kick out of myself. I'm sorry. As for me, let me sum myself up. I'm enjoying my anxiety levels being way down. My therapist is very proud of me. She messaged me today to tell me she's very proud of how hard I'm working on my anxiety, and it's working for me. I've had very low anxiety, like I would say 2 out of 20 for the last few weeks. Let's see, I'm eating a lot of great food. My stomach is constantly hurting. I'm in continual prayer and gratitude. That's why I'm probably so free of anxiety right now. As Kafka just reminded me, I miss so many people from my past. It's excruciating for me, actually. And I am sorry about so many things. Those last two are sadly very connected, aren't they? Oh well. Keep dying, keep writing it down. That's C.K. Williams. I'm Robin O'Neill, and with lots of love, I wish you all good night.